ladies and gentlemen, Stigmatism in My Soul TV. Book is on Amazon.com, both books on Amazon.com. Please subscribe to the channel, share this video. Yo, today, I'm with, in my opinion, one of the dopest MCs to ever grip a microphone in hip-hop culture, excluding nobody. I'm talking about from 1976 up to 2019. Jersey City legend, 6th Borough, Chilltown JC, Chill Rob G. Yo, Rob, what up, baby?
Peace, man. How you?
All right, all right. Sit back. We finna rap the Rob. Be right back with you. Peace. Never feeling significant. I can make a difference. You need an example. Use this as a for instance. Put your mouth on pause. Put your brain in gear. I use sassafras. Raise your glass and cheer. As you get on your good foot, I hope that you never put your trust in unjust suckers who discuss ways of getting paid by criminal means they having to sell or minimal dreams. Doomed to fail, they caught your tail, your butt's in jail, you gets no bail. The scale was tipped, but you weighed little. There's a rock in the hard place, you're caught in the middle. Need a lawyer to litigate, some legal dribble. Now you're back on the street like it ain't no riddle. How long will this last? You seem to love crime. Today you're out here, tomorrow you do time. Word is born, yo, the stage is moved. Yo, the state is cold ready to prosecute. You think you smarter, the system's older. The ace has been dealt, you're now the holder. His name is Chill Rob, there is a good God. His weapon's not scarred, he won't commit fraud. You can't say he lied, there's nothing too high. He says with much pride.
Court is now in session.
Yeah. Yo, Stigmatism in My Soul TV. Yo, Rob, what's up, baby?
What's going on, bro? How you, man?
I'm all right, man. Listen, man, first off, man, I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity, man, to sit down and talk with you, man. I have reached out to you. We have a mutual acquaintance, Joey Timberlake from Joey Town from Jersey City.
Yes, sir.
And I had saw you back, you might not remember, in Lincoln Park. You know, Joey Town, we do the Duncan Projects reunion.
I do remember that.
And Melly Mel was there.
Melly Mel came through.
Right.
Yeah.
And you was there. And let me say this here to you, man. I've been a fan since I heard you on, might have been a Red Alert or a Chuck Chill Out. And since court is now in session, I bought the cassette, Ride the Rhythm, Future Shock, Bad Dreams, Motivation. I mean, the whole thing, man. And in my opinion, and I ain't just saying this to you, Rob, because you sitting here. I've been a fan of hip hop. I've been a student of hip hop since about 77, 78. And your lyrical flow and your imagination, in my opinion, is up there with anybody, man. And I wanted to tell you that, man, and just let you know, man, I'm thankful that you came through, man, and thank you, bro.
Well, I appreciate that, man. You know what I mean? That's why we do it. You know what I mean? You want to reach somebody. You know what I mean? Want to know people listening, so thank you.
Yo, Rob, where you from, man?
I'm from Jersey City.
Born and raised?
Born and raised in Jersey City. Lived out there till I was like 22, and then I, moved out of my grandparents' house.
Okay. What side of town you lived on?
I was in the area called the Hill. It was Armstrong Avenue. Right off of Garfield Avenue in Jersey City is Bayside Park. And that was my area. That was my hood right there.
Okay. Yeah. Rob, Jersey City Public Schools?
Yeah. Well, when I was younger, it was the public schools. But, my grandparents was worried that I would get into trouble with the kids or whatever. So they put some bread together and they had me go into private schools, parochial schools out there. So I graduated. Graduated from 8th grade, it was St. Patrick's, and then I went to St. Mary's High School, but I played around too much.
Okay, so this is Catholic school?
It's Catholic school.
All right, so elementary school, where'd you go to elementary school?
Elementary school, what was it? It was, I think it was PS 29, and I can't remember the other school.
Okay. Okay, so,
Can't remember.
all right, so in our 7th, 8th grade, grandma, grandpa, like, yo, it's over with.
Yeah. I think I got in some trouble in there messing around with them kids. You know, you kids, man.
Right.
So when they was able to do it, you know, it was cool. It was cool. I met a different class of people. I have to admit, when I went to the Catholic school system, you know.
Now, the Catholic school system, was it mostly white or was it diverse?
It was diverse. It was very diverse.
So it was brothers, it was
You
everybody.
know, Jersey City, I don't know if it's still like that, but it used to be one of the most diverse cities in the country.
Yes.
Where we had a lot of different ethnicities, and the high school, St. Mary's, that I went to, really reflected that well. I mean, we had Chinese, Filipino, I think we had a Native American that went into, there was a lot of different people in that school, man.
Okay.
So it was cool.
Okay. Rob, as a kid, what were your interests as a kid? Were you into sports? What was going on with Rob G as a kid, man? I'm speaking 7th, 8th, 9th grade, sophomore, junior. What was you into?
7th, 8th, 9th grade, I was a goofy kid, man. You know what I mean? I used to just play around with my friends, hang around, nothing too serious. I think maybe by the 8th, 9th grade, that's when I really started getting interested in music. Throughout my life, I remember a lot of times where my grandmother in particularly would push me into the spotlight, so to speak. Church was a big thing in my house. So anytime I went, whatever event was going on, I had to be part of it. So I was in the choir, they got to play, I got to get a part. And it was like that in school also. In schools, the teachers would come and seek me out to narrate this little situation they're doing over here, or, you know, whatever event they want me to come in and I'm going to present. It was just always like that. I don't know.
All right, so Rob, check it. What were some of your musical influences from your grandmother? What was playing on the record player in the house, man?
From my grandparents, it was strictly gospel. Most of that stuff was gospel, but
All the time?
from my grandparents, it was gospel. Some of that stuff don't sleep. Some of that gospel stuff is funky.
Ain't no doubt.
It's funky. So, but other than my grandparents living in the house, I had my cousins. They were all older than me. It was like 3 young ladies. They was like 10 years older than me. They just happened to be living with us, right? My grandmother had that kind of house. It was open, different family members. Oh, you get out of here, you go live with, right? So they living in the house with us, and they would play all of the secular music. It wasn't gospel. So from them, I was listening to Parliament Funkadelic and Rufus and Chuck Collins, whatever was popular. Whatever was on the radio, they had a deep dive into whatever popular record. They had the whole album, and I would listen to all of that stuff. Listen to all of that.
Yo, Rob, talk to me about your introduction to hip hop. When you first heard it, and what it did, and what was the magnet, what drew you to it?
When I first, I can't remember what day it was, but I remember the day. I was in Jersey City. I was in Journal Square. I was walking toward the bus stop. Somebody was walking carrying one of them boom boxes. So they blasted their radio, and they were playing this record by the Fatback Band, which I didn't know at the time, but it was King Tim III. And so they was rapping on this record. I've never heard anything like that before. Like, this dude is talking and he's rhyming. I was like, oh, that's dope. You know, I like that. And so when I went home, when I finally got back to the crib, I was around the block and I was telling the crew, yo, I just heard this record. This dude was talking on the record. My man had the record. He had the cassette. So he was playing it. We played it till it popped. Next thing you know, it was Rapper's Delight was on the air. I was so happy to hear Rapper's Delight because it meant that the King Tim III record wasn't going to be the only one. You know what I mean? Like, okay, dudes is going to start rapping on these records. And I love that because it sounded dope. Then my man came to me, this kid that lived on the block named Mike Ali, said, yo, I saw this studio uptown in Harlem where we could go in with like $20 an hour and we could make our own rap record.
How old are you right now, Rob, when this happened?
Man, that might have been 15, 16.
Okay, so
We could make our own rap record. I was like, word? So now I got to write some rhymes because I don't know, So I probably wrote, those black and white notebooks, those composition notebooks? Yeah. I probably filled up 4 or 5 pages with what I thought was going to be my song. Just,
4 or 5 pages or
4 or 5 pages.
Okay.
It wasn't, to the beat, y'all, yes, yes, you know what I'm saying? But I put it all down because I wanted to memorize it. So I wrote a bunch of, very, very early Joe Rob G lyrics right there. I can tell you the name of the song was Baby. We was rapping about girls, 15, 16. This is all you rapping about.
What year is this, Rob?
Oh, man. 85, I think, or 86. Between 84 and 86.
Okay.
So.
Y'all go uptown?
We never even made it uptown. Okay. What we did, though, since I had all of these bars, and what was starting to happen, like in Jersey City, a few dudes had DJ equipment, and they would hire themselves out, or they would book parties, and in the high schools or whatever, everybody would come, and the cat would make a little bit of money. One of those dudes was a guy named Nelson. Nelson had the loudest speakers. He had these Serwin Vega V36 speakers. These are huge speakers. He had a small bedroom that he had these giant speakers in, and he would blast it. I loved it. So you sit there, and the bass is like boom, boom, it's hitting you. So I'm up in Nelson's crib, and then he started playing break beats. This is all happening all at the same time. I'm getting all of this new stuff. Like I think he was playing Super Sperm, and he kept cutting the the breakdown part where it's just. So I started saying the rhyme. All of that 5 pages worth of stuff. It wasn't all that dope. I don't know. Maybe it was dope at the time. And so Nelson loved it. And so he actually gave me the mic. So now I'm rhyming. This was my first time rhyming. I was up in my man's crib, and I heard myself on the mic, and yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Yo, Rob, talk to us about the hip hop scene in Jersey City in the 70s and 80s. What do you recollect going on?
In Jersey City, we had a crew called the Sweet Slick and Slide Crew. And that was Lord Albie Al, King Jimmy Mac, and Warm Prince Shabazz. Those were the 3 rappers. And another cat that was down with them was Chief Chuck-a-Luck. Chuck used to work for the Daily News. He would deliver the papers early in the morning. Chuck was going like 4 o'clock in the morning, traveling all around New York City. He ended up going up to the Bronx and meeting Tito from the Fearless Four. Chuck had that personality, he still got it, where he's one of those cats where everybody who meets him is his best friend from the first minute they meet him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just cool with, he's a good dude like that. So, not only Tito from the Fearless, but he met Dougie Fresh. He's meeting all of these rappers. Chuck was able to convince those cats to come to Jersey City and perform. Like those parties I was telling you, the DJs would play. He would get them to come out and they would perform. So from Chuck and his connections, running around with Sweet Slick and Slide, we had a cat named Briscoe who actually played the guitar for Kool and the Gang. So Briscoe saw that we was into music and we wanted to do rap music, so Briscoe would fuck around with us. He's an older dude, you know what I'm saying?
The Kool and the Gang is from Jersey City, aren't they?
I think Robert Bell is from Jersey City. I don't know if the whole crew is from there, and they still live in Jersey, you know what I mean? Okay. But yeah, definitely. There's a couple of groups. The Manhattans is from Jersey City.
PM Dawn.
PM Dawn is from Jersey City.
The kid who sang on Nolan Thomas says, yo, little brother, what you out here trying to
He's from Jersey City?
That kid is from, they got the white kid on the YouTube video, but he's just oversampling. The kid that actually sings it is a brother from Jersey City. Yeah.
I never knew that.
Yeah, and I think Joey Tom was telling me, remember that song by DJ Rockmaster Scott?
Yeah.
DJ Request Line?
Yeah.
Didn't they make that, I think on the label, they made that, Joey Thomas was like a bowling alley on Commuter Paul?
I wouldn't doubt it. Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and that's what they had.
I think that was Benmore.
That's what it was, Benmore.
Yeah, it was a roller rink.
Right, roller rink,
yeah,
right. And that whole song supposedly took place around that whole spot.
Right. It was another dude, Jerry Bloodrock. He was on the radio. He used to produce records. I think that group that you're talking about, Jerry, had something to do with that. So just a little bit of stuff here, a little stuff there that I was close to, kind of just kept me going, making me feel like, maybe I could get in this game too. Not really seriously, but just in case. So I used to just stay writing rhymes. Ever since I told you I wrote those 5 pages and I knew that this wasn't right, this ain't no song, it's just a bunch of rhymes. So then I started listening to the rap records that was coming out. Cool J might really be the greatest of all time in my opinion.
LL Cool J?
LL Cool J. Just for the longevity and for the number of platinum records, albums that this kid put out.
And the impact he had when he
The
came
impact
out.
he had. And the impact he had on me was, he put out the first rap album that I bought. I bought that record.
Radio?
Yes. And I listened to it front to back, to front to back, to front to back, played it till it popped. All right? So, but that's how I learned to write songs, listening to LL Cool J. Because I was listening to, he only did 16 bars right here. And then he stopped, and the hook was 8 bars. You know what I'm saying? I'm figuring it out listening to him. So, here's some advice for cats who think they want to start writing rhymes. Listen to your favorite rap song. See how many bars it is. You have to learn to count bars. Hopefully you know what bars are. I ain't gonna tell you that. And pattern your first records after that. After that, then you come up with your own stuff. Then you figure out how to do it the way you want to do it. Because there's really no rules at all.
Chill Rob, I remember growing up, I grew up in the 70s and 80s in North Jersey.
Okay.
And I remember at that time, the New York City metropolitan area was the nucleus of hip hop music and culture.
Yeah.
And in that, there was a lot of components. You had the graffiti component.
Right.
That was everywhere. You had the b-boying, how you dressed,
Right.
the leads with the fat laces,
Right.
the nameplate belt buckle, rope
Right.
chain,
Right. Mop
the,
neck.
the DJ, all
Tangos,
the Mop neck,
stuff that can go to.
right, the ski hat with the ball on the top of the BMW on
Right.
it, the DJ, and all of that was together, Rob, and out of that came some of the best hip hop artists, rhymes, and music ever. What do you recall about that time period?
Wanting to be more a part of it. That's what I recall. I recall going to the parties and doing my best b-boy pose. I'm definitely got my Trooper Square going.
What kind of jacket, what kind of coat you had, huh?
Man, I had a bunch of different coats. I had the bomber jackets, the Strata jackets, it was similar to this. I had, a pea coat, leather pea coat. I was in there, man. I'm definitely in there. You know what I mean? Had my Kango, put a little plastic in the Kango, puff it up. I had the suede joint that I used to slick down so it looked like it had waves on it. Yeah, I was definitely in there, man. It was fun. It was fun. It was our own little thing we was making up as we went along,
Yo, Rob, you become a member, you hook up with DJ Mark the 45 King, and this whole flavor unit thing takes shape. Talk to us about how that came about for you, man. How'd you hook up with DJ Mark, and then the whole flavor unit situation, man?
The flavor unit came together, it was a different crew in the beginning. First, there was this dude named Ramsey. And Ramsey had a thing called Ram Enterprises. And they already had a little crew together. They were going to do fashion shows and block
Where was
parties.
Ramsey from?
Ramsey was from Irvington. He was a friend of Apache and Latifah, and Lati and those guys. They all knew him. This dude named Clinton, Crazy O. He was my DJ for a minute. So they already had their little crew together, and they just wanted to expand. So I knew Apache and Latif from high school. We both went to Snyder High. I ran into him, I don't know where I ran into him. I think I ran into him in Irvington. And they were telling me, yo, we got this dude, man, you need to come through because you still rhyme. Yeah, still. So come through. And they wanted me to meet the 45 King. That was Latif talking to me. So I went down to Mark's crib. I didn't really know the extent of, what they was doing together. And, the 45 King, he put on some beats, because that's all he did, was play beats, make beats, and play note. So we down there, smoke weed and make beats. That's what he did.
Where's Mark from?
Mark is originally from, I think he's originally from the Bronx. Then he moved to Queens, and now he's in Jersey. Yeah. So we was at his crib in Jersey. We was in the basement. Beats are playing, so we start rhyming. You know. Now by this time, I was a little sharper. Pen game was a little tighter because Rakim was out. And I think I'll say this: every time a new rapper came out that was better than the last rapper, they made me increase. You know, I had okay, all right. You know, I had to get better too. You know what I mean? So I think basically they was just showing me what was possible. Like you don't have to just talk like that. You can talk about this, you can talk about that. Then I really began to see that you can say whatever you're thinking. You know what I mean? Whatever's on your mind, if you put it together right, you can get it out there. So, yeah, I was down there at 45 King. I said my rhymes. Lati, everybody's rhyming. It was a good time. Went home. He got my number from Lati and called me up, 45 King. And he was like, yo, the stuff you was kicking was dope. I think we should try to record that. I was like, all right, cool. You know, whatever.
This was after you had left. After y'all was down there kicking it.
Right.
You leave.
I leave.
And then he calls you.
Like a day later. Maybe 2 days later. Called me up, yo, you know, we should record some of that stuff you were saying. You ain't got no deal or nothing. I ain't no deal. All right. So boom, we went back. The crib, was it Vaughn Mason? Yeah, he was living in a crib with Vaughn Mason, had a studio in the basement. So he was in the attic now.
Vaughn Mason for Rock Skate.
Rock Skate, Roll Bounce, that Vaughn Mason.
Skate.
Yes. So we, Vaughn Mason at the studio, so we get down there. First I'm excited, this is Vaughn Mason, you know. I'm like, I'm in there now. So we in there, we was recording dope rhymes and chilling. And these are my first rap records. So Vaughn Mason was the engineer. Respect to Vaughn Mason, but he didn't really know hip hop. All right, he was doing that skate music and all, you know, whatever. He knew how to get stuff to sound right for the radio. So Vaughn was focused on the music and making sure that the bass was right and all of that, but he didn't do my vocals right. So him and 45 King kind of got a little situation that, you know, they was beefing a little bit because Vaughn was messing up my vocals, man. You got me sounding like I'm over here and everything else right here is popping, and then there's this guy over here. Nah, Vaughn, there's got to be a record. Put it all together. Whatever. Finally, we won. Vaughn get out the way. So now we got these records together. We took them to Red Alert, and he played them, which I didn't think it was gonna happen. You know, you know what it was? I was too ignorant to be excited or scared or nervous, whatever. I just didn't know what was happening. I was just going. You know what I mean?
Yo, Rob, I heard you on Red Alert. That's how I got introduced to you.
Okay.
Fresh rhymes crowd in my mind. Sometimes I get insomnia. I can't wait to break so I can bomb me a soft, silly, simple, stupid, slow, dumb chump. Yeah. Been sitting on his life like an old tree stump. And I told you this before we turned the camera on, man. Just like your imagination. I got some more questions related to that shit. Because unlike today, and I don't want to run down on the youth. I mean, they doing their thing. They doing what they do. Because I remember the older generation running down on us when we was bringing hip hop to the game. So I let them do what they do. But these are ABC rhymes today. This is Sesame Street. But back then,
like they went back, right?
Huh?
They went backwards. These kids.
It regressed.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
It definitely did.
Listening to you, listening to Kane, Rakim, Chuck D, KRS-One, you had it took your mind, and you would hear some shit the 40th time you heard that song. I didn't hear that the first 39 times. And that was the era, and that was one of the things that I dug about you, man. Rob, talk to me about some of the Flavor Unit sessions, whatever, anything in your mind where like all of y'all was there at the same time, Lakim, Shabazz, Lati, Queen Latifah, and y'all just getting wrecked, just getting money down there in the session with DJ Mark. Any one or two in particular stick out in your mind, man?
There was a couple of tapes that we just recorded, just to be recording tapes. Anytime all of us was together, Mark would try to sneak in like his hottest track.
Who's all of us, Chip?
Well, when I say all of us, it was basically the Flavor Unit. Flavor Unit was kind of like the Jersey City crew, which would be me, Double J, Lord Ali Baski, and I'm gonna say Apache and Latif, but they had already moved to Irvington, players from Jersey City, right? So if the Jersey City crew came through, and then you had like the Newark East Orange crew, and that would be Latifah, Lakim,
C Justice.
you naming them, right? Latifah, Lakim, C Justice. It was a couple of other cats who really didn't, I don't want to disrespect, but they really didn't make the cut. But they would come through though. And my man Tawheed, I don't want to leave Tawheed out. So we would all get together, and when we was all together, Mark would be down there, you know, we in there, we smoking, we drinking, we laughing. And then Mark would put on like this dope new track that he and then, you know, before you know it, we like this. Yo, where the mic at? You know, because he knew that's what was gonna happen. And bam, we on it, man. Some of those tapes, he said, you know, Mark had a flood, I think he said, and he lost a lot of that stuff. But I think he could sell that right now.
Ain't no doubt.
Yeah, definitely.
So there were sessions where Chill Rob G, Lakim Shabazz, Latif, Queen Latifah, all y'all down there with DJ Monk the 45 King, and y'all just down there just catching wreck, getting money.
More than 1 or 2 beats too, because he would change the beat. So then, okay, I gotta get on that one too. So you gotta come back again and get on some more bars, man. Yeah.
Hey, Rob, I alluded to this earlier, man. Your imagination in your rhymes, your song on your album, Ride the Rhythm, Bad Dreams. Have you always had a brilliant imagination? Was that something you was always had? And my next question along with that is, MCing as an art, is it a talent or a gift, or can it be developed? First, I want to hear what you got to say about your imagination and your rhyme flow.
I'll say this about my imagination. I was pretty much an only child as I was growing up. I was raised by my grandparents. So until I was like 10 or 12, I was about 10 years old, when they adopted this kid, this foster kid, who became like my brother.
How old was he?
We was the same age. We was about the same age. Yeah, it was just me in the house. I was the only kid in the house. So yeah, my imagination was crazy. It was a bookshelf, and it was a TV, it was a record player. And I used to make all kinds of different stuff happen with that, you know? Like I would put the record player on, I would grab the books, I would build a little village, you know what I mean? And I would be the lord of all of that. Depending on what the record was playing, you know, if it was like a crazy record with a lot of energy, then maybe I can't sit still and build a village, you know? But I would get those books and just make all kinds of different stuff happen. I would make like little Tom, I'm a little kid, man. You know what I'm saying? So imagination, yeah, you have to think of different ways to amuse yourself. And I didn't have a problem doing that.
Reading and vocabulary, how important is that to MCing and writing rhymes?
Man, it's extremely helpful. It's extremely helpful. If you look at, you know, I mentioned the president earlier today, but if you look at the president of the United States today, the man really doesn't have much of a vocabulary. When he's using words like bigly and stuff like that, it's just so elementary, man. It's so, you know, 5th grade or 4th, 3rd grade. So if you're gonna make a rap song, especially now, going forward from 2019 and onward, like we've heard a lot of rap records in all these years. So, come on, man, give me something new.
Let me tell you what's happening, Rob. This is what's going on, man. This is real. These millennials and these young kids, there has been a resurgence in the interest of that 80s hip hop, man. They are going back, and I remember, and I was like you, I was raised as an only child. I remember my mother listening to Aretha Franklin,
Right.
Roberta Flack, the Four Tops, and me going back and like saying, yo, this shit is alright, you know? Stevie Wonder is money. That's what these kids are doing today. They're going back because they want to get to the essence, man.
So they're doing that with hip hop. They're going back. Yeah. That's cool.
Rob G, you competed in hip hop's golden era from 1986 to around 1989. It was monsters out there, Public Enemy, Eric B. and Rakim, EPMD, LL Cool J, Run DMC, KRS-One, Kane, Cool G Rap. You competed and you made some noise in the New York City metropolitan area and around the world during that time period, man. Talk to me about that, man. How were you able to compete with these monsters, man?
I got the strength from the monsters. It's like I was telling you, I was listening to these dudes before I got, it's like, let's view it like it was a competition, which in my mind it wasn't really a competition, but being that it's hip hop, it is kind of, right? So I got to see your work before I brought mine out. So, all right, I can get ready for you now. You know what I mean? You put your records out and that was dope, but okay, let me see if I can do it. You know what I'm saying? I can get ready. It's not like I didn't peep your answers already. You know what I mean? So that's how I was able to stay with it. And KRS-One was a revelation for me. When I heard the Criminal Minded album, I was like, wow. Because he took it, Run DMC was doing it. And it was dope. I was like, oh, wow, listen to this. Perfection. I love that album. You know what I mean? The Racing album. But then KRS-One came, and his wordplay was just next level. I was like, oh. Like Rakim was like a jazz player. He even said that himself. And I heard that. He was like he would do his bars like a jazz instrument. Just the way he brought it, the way he would ride to the track. It was like, oh, that's like, you know, but you can't really copy that without showing that you're copying that. Because his was laid back, like everybody else would yell a little bit. He didn't want to yell. And you could hear that in the bars. He was kind of talking it, but it was so slick. KRS-One came in. Again, he wasn't really yelling. He was talking it. But the way he was bringing it, it was like it really caught your attention. So listening to these dudes, before I even put out a record, I knew that I had to, put it like this, if they heard my stuff, I didn't want them to just, brush it away. I wanted them to sit and listen to it, just like I sat and listened to their stuff. So, you know what I mean?
Rob, you just said something about you couldn't copy somebody else's stuff. Talk about biting, man, and how a criminal offense it was in hip hop in the 80s, in the culture,
yeah.
From the clothes to how you wore your sneakers to how you wore your shirt, your hat, biting.
Yeah.
How talk about biting, man.
It's a problem. My crew would beat the shit out of you if we caught you actually saying somebody's rhymes and trying to front like it was yours. You're gonna get stomped out for that. We're a bunch of little kids, we got a lot of energy, and fighting was fun. Because we wasn't murdering people. We were just beating the shit out of you and to talk about you for a month after that. You know what I mean?
Yo, Rob, during that era, that golden era, and I hope you don't mind me staying on this because this,
it's where I'm from. Yeah, it's where I'm from.
During that golden era, there was a black consciousness and a knowledge of self. 5% Nation, Chuck D and them came in with the political thing, the black history, and even you in some of your early videos, I saw you with the kufi, with the dashiki. Talk about that era in that sense, and then how it impacted you, and then did you embody some of that in your art, in your talent?
I always saw hip-hop as like street music, right? Like the people who do it basically are the guys that are hanging out on the block. If it's not the drug dealer, he's the drug dealer's friend. He's out there, he knows the guy. So the conversations that you would have pretty much bleed their way into your lyrics. Like you talking to, some dude, and then the African, well, not African, but the cats would come through and they're wearing, all the robes and they're selling the oils. Get into a conversation with them, like, why are you doing this, And they would break down to you what's going on, man. Like, what, how you can't believe this, and that's phony. And for me, coming out of that Christian home that I was coming out of, and then being beaten ahead with all of this real black consciousness and awareness of what is happening around me right now, and not just from those dudes with the robes, but like it was a lot of black business owners around where I was growing up. So, excuse me. So I would talk to them, and they would just, you know, they would school you up a little bit, man. You know, you're a young kid. Let me tell you something about the real world. So you would hear all of this different stuff, and then so yeah, when it's time for you to get in the studio, that stuff was going to be in there. You know what I mean?
Okay. Should that be an element of hip hop?
I think everything has its place. I don't want hip hop to become one thing. That's why, for a while there, anytime somebody referred to rap or rap music or a rapper, people put the word gangster in front of it. And it would be like everything was gangster rap. And it's like, no, that's not really what it is. Because De La Soul wasn't gangsters. They got some of the dopest records ever made. You know what I'm saying? It's plenty of rappers that are not quote unquote gangsters that put out dope records. So what they was trying to do was box us, which you can't do with hip hop. It's just not gonna work. It's not gonna fly.
Who are you a fan of? Who are you a fan of, Rob? I know you've said a few names already, but who you a fan of, you know, as you was coming up in hip hop?
Well, besides the names I mentioned, I'll mention them again. I'll say KRS One and Chuck D, Rakim, Cool J, and I'll even mention some of the contemporary dudes. I like J. Cole, Kendrick. Some of these dudes, though, like even though they're not great lyricists, like they put out one or two records that I like. So I think there's some value in everything, you know what I mean? Even like these dudes that we might consider whack, or we don't like their presentation, like these cats wearing dresses and all that. I ain't for that, but that record was dope. I like that record, you know what I mean? So I could do that. I could compartmentalize, separate the foolishness from this dope piece of art that you made right there. That right there was dope. That's a bunch of bullshit right there.
Rob, what countries and continents has hip hop taken you to, man? Where have you been?
I've been to Asia, been to, as far as, well, I've been to Tokyo, I've been to Germany, I've been to London, all over Europe, all over the United States. I've been around a lot. I'll say this, I haven't been to Africa, which I still want to do. Not that crazy about going to Australia. I've heard some things, Russia, you know, I'm not trying to get there. I think Africa is the only continent I really want to get to so far. That's left. I haven't been.
I've been there
Oh, have you?
4 times. Dope.
Yeah, man. What country did you go to?
I've been to Egypt 3 times.
Okay.
To the Sudan,
All right.
Swaziland,
All right.
and South Africa.
Okay, cool.
Johannesburg, South Africa is money, man.
Yeah, I heard about
Money.
that. I heard about
You might as well be riding the downtown Jersey City or downtown North.
Yeah, no,
Buses,
no.
train, Wi-Fi.
that. Right.
You know, not like what they depict on the TV
Of course not. They don't show you that. They show you that they ain't got no roads and that the kids are starving in the big bellies. They don't show you the beautiful cities like in Nigeria. You know, like I want to get over there and see that.
Yeah. Yo, Rob, New Jersey's contribution to hip hop, man, going back, Sugar Hill Gang, all 3 members were from Jersey.
Right. Hassan 711.
Who's that?
Hassan 711. What was the name of that record? Oh man.
Early hip hop?
Yeah. Look, you on the internet, Google Hassan 711 right now.
Yo, y'all look that up. The song The Message, that's credited with Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 with Melly Mel, Duke Booty, who's actually from Plainfield, wrote that whole...
Oh, did he?
He wrote that whole record with the verse. And
Even The Child Is Born with No State of Mind?
No, that's Melly Mel's.
Yeah.
But all what Melly Mel said prior to that was all Duke Booty.
Okay.
And that song, The Message, is in the Library of Congress in D.C. as one of the 50 greatest recordings. I mean, you know how big that song was. Flavor Unit, Latifah, Naughty by Nature, Tretch Pora. Jersey has been in hip hop, man, since its inception, man.
Right, no doubt. No
Yeah.
doubt.
Now,
A big contribution too.
huge.
Yeah.
in my opinion, and you speak on this, the Flavor Unit could compete with any crew
Yeah.
that was out at the time.
Yeah.
You know, you had the Juice Crew over there with Molly Marl and them.
Which was our, you know, on the low. Shh.
Yeah,
He was
speak
watching
on it.
them.
Speak
He
on
was
it.
watching them. And the 45 King would try to, you know, he would try to gas you up when you in the booth. He'd be like, all right, now you know Gucci Rap is gonna hear this shit. Make sure that it ain't whack. You know what I'm saying? And so you thinking about that while you in there. You're like, yeah. So again, you know, you don't want them to brush you aside. You want them to listen just like you did. So.
Okay, you just said the 45 King. Rob, how dope was the 45 King and how dope is the 45 King as a listener?
I think somebody else, I think Jay-Z said this about 45 King. He comes out every once in a while and drops a nuclear detonation and then vanishes. And he's gone for another, 10 years or so. Yeah, not the problem. But he's a genius in that way. Like he can, Mark, when he zones in, he knows that he got the right kick, the right snare, and he doesn't deviate from his sound. Everything.
The horns. He always got the horns and the trumpets in most of his stuff.
Even if he doesn't do that, you're gonna recognize the kick and the snare. They're always basically the same. Basically the same. Yeah, Mark is a genius like that, man. He knows what he wants to do. He knows how he wants it to sound. He does a lot of stuff that's dope, but then every once in a while, it's like, BOW!
He did something for Eminem, didn't he? Wasn't the Stand?
Yeah.
That's DJ Mark, the 45 King? Huge record.
Yeah.
That whole sound is his?
Yeah. And the Hard Knock Life, he put that together too.
For Jay-Z?
Yeah.
Hard Knock Life.
Bam, 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 bam. The Annie joint?
Yeah.
That was him. He put that together.
Wow. Wow. Yo, Rob, man, we're gonna wrap this up in a minute, man. Listen. Adversity and failure, how you bounce back from that, man? When you look at my channel, man, you see I do a lot of videos, and I told you a little bit about my story,
Right.
prior to us getting on camera.
Right.
And I think a lot of people, are broken in life spiritually and mentally and are incapable or don't even want to put themselves back together or don't know how. Could you speak a little bit to adversity and failure and how to bounce back?
A lot of times people who are, as you say, broken are like that because they feel like it's their fault. They've done something terrible in life. That's why all of this bad stuff is happening. And then they learn to beat themselves up. So really the problem becomes them beating themselves up for not doing better. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I'm stupid. And what you think and what you say to yourself about yourself reflects in what you produce and how you move and how you act. So you really just got to learn to forgive yourself, love yourself. You probably were at a point at some time in your life where you knew you was loved, you knew that you was capable, and you was making moves. So, and you was happy to do it. You was happy to share, all of that with everybody. This is my story now, I'm talking about me. You was happy to share with everybody. So, you got to try to remember that about yourself. Try not to beat yourself up. Try not to talk down to yourself. Really, is what's going on up here is going to manifest all around you. You're going to see it. And that's really what it is, man. That's really what it is.
So you're saying the words that you speak out into the universe and the thoughts that you throw out, that's your world.
That's your world. You create it. You create. I mean, Tupac talks so much about his death and him being murdered. It didn't take long. They chased him down. He was calling it up. That's my opinion. I know that's gonna sound crazy. And go ahead, keep your comments to yourself, man. But I think, you know what I mean? You gotta watch what you say, man, and how you move it. You know what I mean? What you thinking. It's important to filter your thoughts. And when you find yourself, tripping, recognize that that's what you're doing. You're bugging right now, thinking all of this foolishness. Like, you're not a loser because something happened to you. Maybe you trusted somebody you shouldn't have trusted. That don't make you stupid. You know what I mean? You just learn from that, move forward, do better the next time.
What would Rob G today say to Rob G of 25 years ago?
I would have been a lot more selfish.
You would have been?
I would have been a lot more selfish.
Speak on that.
I was looking out for a lot of people other than myself because I was so arrogant. I just figured I was gonna be all right. You know, I got this talent. I'm making moves. This is never gonna change. You know what I mean? It's always gonna be this easy. And so I was ready to just hand out here and there, you know, looking out for other people, not really watching my own back. And I shouldn't have done that.
Self-preservation is the first law of nature.
Yeah, it sure is. It sure is. I was convinced that I had the right system around me, that I would not really be in any jeopardy. Never think you're not going to be in jeopardy. Always prepare for the worst, even though you don't expect it, but just, you know, it might.
Yo, Chill Rob, what's next for Chill Rob G, man?
I mean, you know, life.
Working
man.
on any music?
Yeah, man. You know, I do that just in case.
So
You
the
know what
notebooks are still there.
Notebooks are still there, 5 pages, man. Let's go. I'm ready. I try to stay ready. You know what I mean, you never know when the opportunity will pop up, especially now, in which they do for me every once in a while. You mentioned the record that I made a couple of years back.
Money.
That was so random. I was minding my business. Dude hit me up and said, "Yo, I got some tracks I want you to listen to." So I listened. I said, "Yo, that's kind of dope." He said, "Yo, we can record at my crib," and I was ready. Like I said, just in case. So I had that written. I went over there and recorded it.
Yo, that song, I found it this morning, you know, getting prepped for this interview.
Okay.
Look up, the beat starts off slow, it speeds up, and then you come in with these ridiculous rhymes. And I'm gonna put that, y'all look down below, the link is down there below, with these money ass rhymes, and then he slows the beat back down
Right.
like it was when it started, man.
Right.
Hey, yo, Rob, man, thank you, man, for
Thank you, man.
giving the brother, man, a chance to get this interview, man. And like I said, you know, I've been a fan since back in the day, man. I've been trying to reach out to you for a few months, and I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna keep calling nigga until you call me, man. And then the other day, you text me, and then here we go, man. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity, man.
Well, thank you, man. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of cats ain't really interested in hearing what I got to say no more.
Well, all right.
It's all good.
But we gonna make them re-interested in Chill Rob G, man, and make these millennials go back and look at some of your stuff, man, and you know.
Cool.
Yo, we gone. Peace.